Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You are tuned into Esoteric Guidance, and my name is Nehru. In this video, I would like to speak about recognizing the difference between your emotions and your intuition. So first, locate my pen. So first, understand that they are both necessary. However, for your spiritual journey, giving more credence, paying more attention to your intuition rather than your emotions will serve you well. And so, even if you are highly intuitive at this time, you are functioning in your North Node and you are high vibrational, living, being, authentic. Okay? Even in that situation, your emotions can get in the way and clog your vision. So, dark energies, or those focusing on the South Node, or those who are low vibrational energies, I think that's what I said first. So, or dark energies, yeah. Those who are functioning in that way, these are the ones who play on the emotions. Okay? And because they do not believe that you can pick up on that. Okay? So we're talking about psychopaths, narcissistic personality traits. We're talking about cluster B personalities. We're talking about sociopaths. We're talking about these individuals. Okay? They prey on the emotions. If you look up any cult and that leader, you will find that they focus on the emotions of the people. Okay? Because the enemy sees you as that vulnerable bird who cannot fly. And when they see that vulnerable bird that cannot fly, or that elk that cannot run, they're lazy and they go for the easy fruit, low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is someone who is functioning in life day-to-day emotionally. Okay? So, someone who is functioning in their high intuitive self, they lead a stoic kind of life. Okay? You can't put your hand on them, but there's something about them. You don't know what it is, but they seem immovable. They seem unfazed by the bullshit that's going on around them. Okay? And if they do show anything, they show the ability to stay the course and not get into their emotions. Okay? So discerning between your emotions and your intuition. So, several examples, and I'm going to use myself, both the good and the bad and the ugly. Again, I share that with you. Those of us who are new subscribers, first of all, welcome in Soul Tribe Collective. Thank you for being a part of the channel. On this channel, there is a playlist, and it's called My Journals, or Journal Journeys, or something like that. Okay? If you want to know more about me and my 49-year path here, and some downloads about previous lifetimes, please go take a look at any of those videos that stand out to you. I share the last 2 journals covering the last 10 years, 2014, when I was a year into dialysis treatments, and up to this year, early this year, around April or May, I ended the 2nd journal. Okay? So, there's a lot of information in there, dreams, downloads from when I was a child. Okay? And so, I like to be transparent. Okay? I have no reason to hide my hands. None whatsoever. Because I'm not the one doing the fuckery. Okay? So, okay, again, I like to use myself if at all possible, because I am here to demonstrate on this journey, like Yeshua did as a descendant of Yeshua. I am here to demonstrate the way that we get through Lucifer, Beliar, Apophis, Apep, Lilith. How do we get through and deal with these dark satanic energies, whether it's the Illuminati, Skull and Bone Society, MK Ultra programs, the programs of the TV, the programs of entertainment. How do we get through all this bullshit? Okay? To become the light of the world. How do we do that? Okay? That's what I'm here to demonstrate, and that is what I am demonstrating. Okay? Birthed into a polygamous family, new subscribers. The polygamous sperm donor took my first wife and our daughter in 1998 when I was away in the military in Germany. Okay? 714 on the timer. That's 777. Kidney transplant 7717. I started walking at 7 months. Okay? Who knows what else happened when I was an infant that Judy and Kevin have not told me and will not tell. Okay? When I was birthed, the umbilical cord was wrapped around both my neck and my left arm. Look that up and find out what the meaning of that is. If you went through a similar experience as an infant or at birth, I encourage you to look up what that means when the umbilical cord is wrapped around whatever extremity of your body. Look it up. It's significant. Okay? So, again, I've been to hell and back in 49 years. 4.5 years of dialysis because of spell work. Okay? Against relationships from the get-go. Against my business from the get-go. Okay, I was a tax accountant for 13 years. Okay? So, or in that field, I like to say. I wasn't a tax accountant for all 13 years. I was bookkeeper, accounting manager, blah, blah, blah. Right? So, in that time, I have plenty of examples of when I was functioning in my emotional self. Okay? So, when my first wife told me that she wasn't going to be coming to Germany with me because she had been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and led astray to join the sperm donors cult while I was waiting for housing for us in Germany, I made an emotional decision. And I decided that women were going to be good for one thing, and that was for fucking. That was all I was going to use women for. That didn't last, because that's not me. I can't, even in dark energy, I can't function that way. I don't have a player mentality. I am definitely a one-woman kind of man. Okay? I am a one divine masculine kind of divine feminine. Okay? That's who I am. And for our new listeners, that has nothing to do with a dick or a vagina. You need to look it up and find out what the difference is between a divine masculine and a divine feminine. Okay? Educate yourself. So, that was an emotional and very karmic decision. Okay? Even though it did not last. Okay, because again, I can't function that way. I ended up dating a German woman. I ended up dating her for like a year and a half or something. So and I was only there for 2 years. So it didn't. Yeah, I just don't have that. I don't have that player mentality. That's just not who I am. Okay, I am a very dedicated and committed individual when it comes to relationships. So, and that's of any sort. Okay, you'll be hard pressed to find a dog more loyal than I am when it comes to a relationship, whether that's platonic or romantic. And a dog represents loyalty esoterically. Okay, energetically, a dog represents loyalty. So that was a dark karmic decision. When I got married the first time, I was young, dumb, and full of cum, just, as the saying goes. And so when I got married, I was 21. Yeah, 21. Okay? I knew nothing about, again, I had grown up in a polygamous household. Okay? I knew nothing about intuition or anything. I've always known that I was unique and special. I have always known that. Always known that there was something different about me. I've always known that. And again, divine masculines, divine feminines, earth angels, light workers, starseeds, you've always known that. Okay? Okay? I'm reminded of Anime Bullock. For those of you who do not know who that is, that's Tina Turner. Okay? So I'm reminded of how this divine starseed was birthed as Anime Bullock, but it took Ike Turner to get her, to trigger her into the dark night of the soul so that she could become Tina Turner. It was in there. It was always in there, in the crystals flowing up and down her vertebrae. Okay, the 33 vertebrae in your back, that's the Christos. Why do you think he was here for 33 years? That's what your body represents. That's why the kingdom of God is within you. Okay? So she made an intuitive decision one day to walk away from him. And when she did, she became her highest, purest, truest self. And for many of us, that is what happened. So we're functioning emotionally, and then all of a sudden something comes and it triggers us into the dark night of the soul and into our spiritual awakening of who we really truly are. Another example, Malcolm X. So Malcolm X started out obviously in very low vibrational energy, robbing, stealing, cheating, lying, fucking, all sorts of things, right? And so when he went to prison and then got introduced to Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, okay, then he started to be taught by a racist and a polygamist, okay, and a fornicator, okay. That's who Elijah Muhammad is, okay. And so that was the kickoff. That was the trigger for him into his great awakening. And then when he left the Nation of Islam, they put a hit out on him. That's why I don't support the Nation of Islam. I don't support any religion today, but that's why I do not support the Nation of Islam. Okay? So, then he became truly aware of the oneness of the human race. Because prior to that, Elijah Muhammad was teaching him racism. Okay? So, the healers, earth angels, light workers, starseed, alchemists, these individuals that are birthed into this place, into this earth, typically there's something that triggers us into our great awakening, I will call it, okay? Which starts with the dark night of the soul. So with that, we function emotionally throughout all those situations. See, Elijah Muhammad got Malcolm X to be committed to him from an emotional standpoint, as he represented the Father. Okay? No different than what the Pope does today, even though he's fucking your son and kissing his penis. Yet, dumbasses still give them money. That's why they're the richest religion in this world today. Catholic Church. Okay? The motherfuckers got so many secrets, they don't have enough rugs to sweep it under. Okay? So, another example of me making an emotional decision. Again, I share the emotional decisions just like I'm going to share the intuitive and high vibrational decisions. So intuitive, or excuse me, emotional. Another decision. Okay? So when I was on my hiatus, if you want to call it that, shortly after the military, I went on a hiatus. I was sent to a house, a religious organization. I was sent there called the Rock of Central Florida. It's in Sanford, Florida. It's at 6641 West State Road 46. Speaking of 46, is 1646 when I said that on the video timing. So I was sent there, and there were 3 different gentlemen who came to that place in 2003. Pay attention to all the names, the dates, the years. Pay attention to everything I say, because not for pride reasons, and not because I know it all. Okay, I do, but I'm still uncovering it. As you do know it all, but you're still uncovering it. Okay? So I was sent there, and 3 different men. One is in Rutland, Vermont, at Beth Tome. That's the name of his religious organization. It's BETHTOMB. His name is Jim Schneider. Okay? Another, Todd Murner. He is the senior minister at the Rock of Northwest Arkansas. Okay, Todd Murner. Last name MURNER. Okay? And F. Nolan Ball. Okay? So, he was the senior minister at the Rock of Panama City for 42 years or something before he passed, and I believe he passed in 2016, I believe. Okay? That church started out as a Methodist church, but then he got some glimpse of an awakening, and he went non-denominational and walked away from the Methodist organization and their religious structure. Okay, and they became a non-denominational independent church of their own at some point. I think maybe in the 80s. I'm not sure. Okay? It's 88 degrees. It's 5:38. Okay? So, I was upset and disgruntled because after the military, 8 years in the military, speaking of 8-8, and I walked away because of my frustration with what was going on in my life at that time. So I thought I was going to be getting out, and I told my command sergeant major at the time, I was at 3rd Infantry Division at Fort Stewart, Georgia, in Hinesville. Okay? I was at the end of my 7 years. I ended up staying 8 years. I was at the end of my 7 years, and he wanted me to re-enlist, and I told him I was going to seminary school. That's what I really truly believed. Okay? Also, I'm reminded to share from my journal today. I am reminded about what I was told in one of my journals by a prophet I met in a grocery store 10 years ago. Okay? I met him in an Aldi. And he just came up to me, and I was with Judy at the time. She's the woman who I suspect has birthed me. And he told us some things, her some things about herself, and me some things about myself. There's about a 30-minute conversation standing in the middle of the grocery store. Okay? One of those things that he told me was that my occupation, my mission, my purpose here is only full-time ministry. He called it evangelistic ministry, but he said your purpose here is full-time ministry. He said you should have no other job. Okay? And today, I'm in this RV today because I've given everything that I've owned away: car, motorcycle, Sadie, my Cane Corso, furniture. That hurts every time I say that. Furniture, which is what the fucking karmics want. And that's okay. Okay? Because there's going to be a healing one that comes along. In fact, there's going to be more than one. Okay? And so, with that, I gave everything away because that's what highest divine white light guided me to do. So that began my Job experience. Okay? So, he told me that was my place, full-time ministry. He called it evangelistic, okay? But he said that was that's your place. You don't need any other job. Again, I was 2 months into dialysis at this point because of a rare autoimmune virus that man still has no cure for today. It's called IgG4 nephropathy. IgG4 could be any number of things. The nephropathy is just what it attacked. It attacked my native kidneys. Okay, 4.5 years on dialysis as it's 541. Okay? And so I got really, really frustrated that things weren't going well in 2004. And I decided, you know what? I can do that all by myself, God. Okay? And I decided I was going to do it. It was 22:22 on the video timer just now. I decided to walk away, okay? What ended up happening during that time let me know that I had come into the knowledge of something. Again, I was functioning emotionally through all of this, okay? It lets me know that I knew the truth, and this is why highest divine white, this is one of the reasons why highest divine white light sent those men to the Rock of Central Florida to say those things in front of those people to me. Okay? Including in front of Stephen Lee Parker and Kimberly Kerner Parker, who are the senior ministers or leadership at that place. Okay? If they're honest and aren't lying asses still, if you ask them, they'll be honest and tell you, yep, those things actually did happen. Okay? They did call him out. Those ministers did tell him that Yahweh searched the earth to join him to this man. Yes, there were great things that we were supposed to do, but Steve is a lazy ass or a karmic ass. Okay? Interestingly enough, he also went AWOL from the military. I volunteered for war. Talk about a contrast. Okay? So, I got emotional about what I was not doing, what wasn't happening, and blah, 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 blah. Right? And so I decided that I was going to go on this 1.5-year sabbatical. During this emotional 1.5-year sabbatical, 24 minutes on the clock, during this 1.5-year sabbatical, I got a DUI. Okay? Ended up losing my driver's license for a full year. Now, when highest divine white light sends his justice or his karma or karma comes upon you, okay? Again, those men were sent so that I could not deny the reason why I was sent to that place and I was not to move. In fact, one of the men said, I believe it was Todd Murner, who said, I need to be on the front row of wherever Steve is speaking. Okay? So, in 2000, they threw the book at me, okay? So, again, I'm not ignorant to racism here in America, no matter how slight it might be. Okay, it does exist, but they did that on purpose. That is systemic racism. Okay, if you want to know where it stems from, look up Niger, Niger, of Cyrene, Cyrene. Okay? He was of darker skin, even though he was in a country or in a land that was olive-skinned people. Okay? So he was birthed, Moses was birthed as a pale white, gray-haired baby. Okay? Look it up. You won't find that in Genesis to Revelation. You have to look at hidden books. Okay? Like the book of Enoch, the books of Enoch. You have to look at the Cave of Treasures, the infancy of Yeshua, how he came out talking as an infant to Mary. None of that shit is in your Bible. That's why the Bible is religious, because it's constructed by man. They included what they wanted to and excluded what they wanted to. Okay? I wouldn't read that book every day if I were you. I would use it as a reference and only intuitively when guided to so. Alright? So, Highest Divine White Light wanted to show me a lesson. Okay? And this lesson was the last lesson that he ever had to teach me about walking away. So I got the DUI. I had no criminal record, none, never been arrested, no nothing. So here I am, a brown man standing in court in front of this judge, and he throws the book at me. First DUI, first arrest, first anything. Okay? Throws the book at me. A 4-year probation, no driver's license, okay? And through that, I ended up losing my job, which was at an automotive dealership. It was for AutoNation. I was working at AutoNation at the time, or for AutoNation, okay? So, I learned my lesson, okay? So in 2007, I recommitted myself back to Highest Divine White Light and to my highest purpose. And I've never looked back. Even despite I had not gone through dialysis yet, okay? I had not invited Judy's ass back into my life. I didn't even know where they were back then, by the way. I was right in the middle of not knowing where any of my family were, okay? Including my daughter, Kimberly. Because again, they were with the sperm donor and they had left the state of Florida. Confirmation birth. Okay? So I was frustrated, I was angry, I was all of those things. Also, in the middle of that, I got involved with, because of emotions, and again, I wasn't functioning in my highest, purest, truest self, not even halfway. Okay? So I got involved with, again, for the second time, the only time I've ever done that, dated the same woman twice. When something ends, let it go. Do not ever, ever, ever go back. Do not ever go back. When Highest 2828 on the video timer, when Highest Divine White Light cuts something off from you, cuts someone off from you, shows you who they really truly are and how dark and evil and sadistic they are, trust that and let them go and do not ever look back. That's a lesson for us all. Okay? So, it ended up getting her pregnant. She ended up getting pregnant. And she gives birth to a child that she already had 2 young kids that were hellions. They were some badass kids. I'm telling you, I'm talking about, she called them Chino and Nolly. Like, Chino, eat your food. He would throw it against the wall. I'm talking badass kids. Just badass kids. Okay? She was from New Jersey. Her name is Cynthia. Cynthia might be significant. Her last name is Garcia. Ironically, there's nothing such as irony or coincidence. Interestingly, I ended up doing dialysis for 1.5 years. Years later, 7 years later, yes, 7 years, 8 years later, next to her father. in a dialysis center right next to him. We sat right next to each other. Okay? I only found that out through conversations with him. His name is Mario. He passed, I want to say in 2019. He's in my journal as well. She gave me a picture of his obituary. He's in there as well. Let me get that. So, that choice, when I was on my hiatus, if you will, if you want to call it that, you're never out of the eyes of highest divine white light, obviously. And I knew that, but I was frustrated and angry. Again, that was an emotional decision that I made to do what the fuck I wanted to do because things weren't going as well as I thought they should. Okay? And part of that is on Steve. Okay? Because he did not fully embrace me. Perhaps he was afraid. I don't know. Okay? So, need some light in here. Okay? So this is Mario. Yep, 2019. Okay, any of these dates might be significant for you or the name. Okay, I sat next to him for a year and a half doing dialysis in Castleberry, Florida. He is the father of the woman that I dated on 2 separate occasions that turned out to be karmic. Okay? But through that, when she got pregnant, there was another couple who was a part of the Rock of Panama City, the Rock of Gainesville, where George and Suzanne Brantley are, the senior ministers. And that was a close relationship between both houses. I'm a Gators fan. Don't blame me or don't criticize me for that. And so going up there for tailgating parties and all that sort of thing, right? In the 90s, before I went into the military, and even going up there for games after the military and that sort of thing over the years, right? But that was a close relationship that Steve established with the Rock of Panama City, because that's where him and George Brantley were under the tutelage of F. Nolan Ball. Okay, so the son, it was a male, that ended up being birthed from her. We ended up immediately giving to adoption to an interracial couple that at the time was not able to conceive, and obviously they wanted a child. It was 33 minutes exactly when I walked over and looked at the video timer, and we were able to bless them with that. Okay? And so, again, karmic decision, emotional decision that highest divine white light turned around and used to be a blessing to someone, but in all truth, really could have been avoided. Okay? Really could have been avoided. That family would have been blessed some other way. Perhaps the mother's womb would have been opened, or if there was an issue with the father, who knows? Okay? Who knows? Right? But it happened the way that it happened. Okay? So, again, because I was functioning emotionally and not intuitively, when I began to see that I was functioning emotionally, and after I got knocked on my ass by El Shaddai, Elohim, the great white light, when I got knocked on my ass, then I woke up. And again, that was late 2006, early 2007. So, functioning from your emotional self, when it is done through anger, spite, jealousy, envy, okay? When it's done through any of those means, it could not be anger against someone. Again, my frustration was anger with highest divine white light, Yahweh as I called him at that time. That was my frustration. Okay? You got me out of the military. This is a bunch of bullshit. Right? So, what I knew then, and I know now, is that I was one type of physical soldier, and I was that type of spiritual soldier, but he needed me to be that full time, and not the physical soldier. It's 5:55 on the clock right now. That's the current time, Mountain Standard Time. It's 84 degrees. Thankfully, it's cooling off because it's gonna rain, because it was 100 and, I don't know, 2 or 3 or something today, whatever the high temperature was. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised if it climbed back up to 98 degrees when the cloud clears. Right? So, it hasn't rained yet, so there's a chance that it won't. That's a rarity in southern Arizona. So, here's a question for you to answer. Look back and think about the decisions that you made, and you said, wow, that was really a dumbass decision. I guarantee you it was an emotional one, okay? The man who decides to strike out and hit his wife, that is an emotional decision, okay? The woman who decides that her husband's not home enough and she's gonna go out and fuck on somebody else, that is an emotional decision, okay? The child that decides they're going to rebel against the parents who are trying to protect them from the 20-something-year-old when they are 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, that is an emotional decision. I'm reminded of the movie Black Coffee. It's one of my favorite kind of great love story movies. Okay? It's called Black Coffee. All right? And so, in that movie, the main character is an attorney. One's an attorney. The female is an attorney. Just opened up her practice. And the guy is a painter. And he gets fired from the company that his father built. Okay? Because someone else is the owner of that company. Because he lacked the confidence or what have you to do it himself initially. Okay? But in that movie, they get together, and she has several properties, and she's dating some other punk ass, or some punk ass, okay, who's also an attorney, well established before she was, okay? And they're going through their divorce, and they're divvying up stuff, right? And she tells this painter, well, there's property involved, and I'm just gonna let him have it. I don't want anything to do with it, and it's a couple of properties that I wanted to keep, or something like that. One was from her father or mother, or in her family, or something like that. Anyway, an inheritance of some sort that might be important for you. And he says, well, he's listening to her, and at first he doesn't give it much thought. But then as she's talking, he's like, wait, what is this property? How much is it? And she says, oh, it's a couple $1 million. She said, but it's okay, we can get other property. He's like, whoa. He said, no, I can't let you do that. You're making an emotional, irrational decision. Okay? And that's what it does. That's what happens. An emotional and irrational decision. Okay? I can't tell you the number of times, and it doesn't matter, it could be the most seemingly the most minuscule thing. When done out of emotions for any of those reasons that I named, anger, envy, jealousy, strife, it's a narcissistic trait. We all have narcissistic traits. Any of us can become narcissists Just like any of us can function in our highest, truest white light, or any of us can function in our low vibrational south node, dark energy, shadow energy, unhealed childhood wound energy. Any of us can function in any of those energies. It's a matter of choice. Okay? So he tells her that she's making an emotional decision, and he's going to help her out and making a better decision, because he's using logic and intuition compared to emotions in irrationality. Okay? All right. Is irrationality a word? I don't even know. So I can say that for my life journey, that decision to walk away from highest divine white light, or again, supposedly, emotionally I did, mentally I did, in 2004 was the last time I made an emotional decision to walk away. And once I committed myself again in 2007, again, there was a whole lot of shit that came after 2007. Okay? Confirmation burps. But I have never walked away, and I'm not. Okay? So, how do you differentiate between an emotional decision and an intuitive decision? Okay? So you have to look at the source from which the decision is being made. The source or foundation from which the decision is being launched. Okay? So you build a foundation in your mind about this decision that you're going to make. Decision to go here, decision to do that, decision to talk to them, decision to date them, decision to not date them, the decision to lash out at them, the decision to hurt them, the decision to send a hateful letter. I typed up an email to Steve Parker when I was still in Florida. That email is still sitting in my draft box. In that email, I'm cussing his ass out from here to Sunday. Okay? You stupid motherfucker, how could you let somebody come into your house? I told you she was fucking women. She licks clits, or bisexual. She's in another relationship, or she was married. He didn't believe any of that when I told him the first time, when I told him nicely. I copied her on that first email. He told me no. Okay? Because he couldn't believe that somebody in his church would be doing that. You want to know how the devil gets to church? And the devil goes to church. The devil rides somebody to church. That's how the fuck the devil gets into church. That's how Jezebel gets into church. Because the enemy is a lazy fucker. Okay? So they're not walking by themselves. They're going to get in somebody as a shapeshifter energy, and they're going to ride your ass to church. Okay? So, that email, that second email, when I'm cussing him out, okay, I never sent that email. Because when Highest Divine White Light told me in June of last year that I was going to be leaving in August, and in June I wrote on my calendar, August 1st, I wrote moving day. I didn't know how, I didn't know where, okay? I still had a house full of furniture. And so, when I got to Arizona, I sent him a nice email, okay? And so, again, that email, the second email that I was going to send to him, that was an emotional email. Okay? And although everything, again, so here we go with some more clarification. 44:44 on the clock, on the video timer. What time is it? 6:04. Okay? when I was guided not to send that email, I realized that that was going to be an emotional email. Even though, and here's something to pay attention to. Okay, here's a disclaimer. You know how on automotive dealership commercials, right? They have disclaimers down there in a little ass print so you can't read it. Okay, the little ass print for humans, for energies. Okay, for a lot of us, we need to pay attention to that disclaimer in life, because a lot of it says some assembly required. I don't want a motherfucker where some assembly is required. Okay? I don't want IKEA furniture. Okay? I want furniture from... Is Brooks Brothers a furniture company? I'm just getting that. Is Brooks Brothers a Broyhill or... Yeah, right? I want furniture that's already assembled. Okay? So, or is Brooks Brothers a builder? I'm not sure. However, okay? But that's what most of those disclaimers say when people come into our lives. Some assembly required. Okay? There's nothing wrong with helping someone, but recognize when you are becoming emotionally involved and therefore intuitively handicapped. Okay? So, what was I going to say in regards to... Oh, so what I was going to say is you could be telling the truth even in your anger when you respond emotionally. You could be telling the truth. I was saying the truth in that email that I didn't send to Steve. I was telling the truth. Okay? He was so religious, he didn't even put his mother-in-law on staff. And he knew Highest Divine White had told him to in 1999 when they established that house. She passed Mother's Day weekend, confirmation with the rev of whatever that is went by. She passed Mother's Day weekend of 2009, having never been able to step into fully her place at the Rock of Central Florida, just like I wasn't. No wonder she's helping me. Thank you, Linda. Linda might be significant for you. So, recognizing when we are making an emotional decision and versus an intuitive one, or compared to an intuitive one. It's not versus. Compared to an intuitive one. Look at the foundation for which the choice is being launched. Okay? So if I go out, and this is one reason why Highest Divine White Light got me out of Florida, because I am a soldier and I am a warrior. I'm a spiritual assassin. He knows me. Okay? I live less than 2 miles, and then I found out that an uncle and an aunt of the same family lives in Deltona. I had no idea. I think I knew the uncle what he did, but I didn't know the aunt did. I was completely thrown back by that. Those motherfuckers probably lived around the corner from me. Gang stalking and all kind of bullshit, leaving shit on the doorstep that was burning. Okay? I'm literally with me and my dog in the house. Okay? Spies, checking my garbage, taking my mail, all kind of shit. Alright? So, Highest Divine White knew that I would make an emotional decision one day and I would meet Steve at his office and I would beat his ass. Physically, I would have to kick his ass. Okay? Because that's just who I am. I'm not a debater. I'm not. I go in, I take care of business, and then we go from there. And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be my best friend. I will kick your ass if you come against me wrongfully. I have no problem doing that whatsoever. And then you decide if you want to be my friend or not after that. Okay? So, he got me out of there because he knows that I could not do my job effectively as that healer, Egyptian shaman, that I need to be to the world and raise the vibration of the people and the nations. That is the people. That's the nations, not the dirt, not the soil. Okay? I couldn't do that from a jail cell. Very limited access in those situations. Okay? Same thing with the karmic Scorpio. Okay? I would have kicked her fucking door down one day, right? And thrown Molotov cocktails in her fucking window or shot something at her from 500 yards away. All right? Highest Divine White Light knew that. And he knew that he had to get me out of there before things got worse, or I started to realize more. Okay, started to get more downloads, more when I started to realize more and more and more and more. Yeah. And they're not the only guilty parties. That would have been an emotional decision, and a bad one. Okay? It would have brought some justice for me, mentally and emotionally, but it would not have been good for my purpose here on this earth. And again, Highest Divine White Light knew that. My ancestors knew that. Trust me, Berlin, Odessa, they know who I am, and they know how I am. Those are the sperm donors' parents, my grandparents. Trust me, they know who I am. Okay? So, we cannot function emotionally, intelligently. You can't do it. Okay? So when are emotions necessary? When are emotions good? Okay? Emotions are good when they come from a pure place. Okay? My brother Matthew, when he passed at the age of 45. Again, pay attention to any numbers, names, synchronicities. Okay? He passed on 8/4 of 2021. No doubt from witchcraft or some other bullshit that the sperm donor Judy was sending to him, or some of those women who still follow Kevin, even though he's serving 40 to 60 years in the Michigan prison. Right now, today, if he hasn't died, I had a dream this morning. Matthew told me that he died on the 14th. Again, Matthew passed on 8/4/21. I had a dream that he told me this morning that the sperm donor died on the 14th, whether that's the 14th to come or the 14th in the past. Okay? So, when he passed, I cried. And I cried several times, okay? Over time, since then, okay? Those tears, those emotions are from a pure place, okay? When I had to let my Cane Corso Sadie go, she's my spirit dog. When I had to let her go, I got her at 11 months. She was 11 weeks. She was 11 weeks old when I got her. Okay, I was birthed in the 11th month. I'm not going to go into all the synchronicities about 11. Again, if you're more interested in my journey, the first 49 years, take a look at the journals. Okay, on this platform, the playlist. So, I cried, and I cried for months about her. Okay, in fact, I held on to her tennis ball and her treats for a long time, and it's still emotionally tugging at me. Okay? I held on to her treats and her tennis ball for many, many months in this RV. Okay? And so, when we function from a true place. Again, not a place of anger, frustration, boredom, intolerance. The scripture, the canonical text speaks of long suffering. Okay? We all have a long suffering journey here in this 3D world. because it's full of the programs that all, again, Skull and Bones, Eastern Stars, Masons, Vatican, all of these places, Illuminati, all of these places, all of these societies, okay? These programs that they have implemented, racism, okay? No one's black or white. If you don't believe me, again, go grab some black paint, go grab some brown paint, and go grab some white paint. And I want you to take a look at them and consider every ethnicity in the world, and you tell me who is white and who is black. You tell me that. Tell me that. No one is black or white. We're all a shade of brown. Stop the bullshit, Illuminati. Stop the bullshit, Vatican. Stop the bullshit. Okay? So you have to consider the place from which your choices are being launched. That will help you determine, is this an emotional decision that's good and okay? Because you, again, emotions are good, okay? You cry when you're being proposed to, or when you are proposing to the love of your life. That's an emotional thing, okay? And hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully you're not choosing a karmic, okay? I've proposed to a karmic before, all right? Thankfully, highest divine white light, my ancestors, the ascended masters, Sanhedrin Council, my spirit guides, light workers, starseeds, they weren't having it. They weren't having it. They said, no, you got to open up your eyes. You got to see the truth here. There's a whole lot going on behind closed doors that you know nothing about. But we're going to show you. We're going to help you. Okay? So, that is how you know if you're functioning from your emotional state or from your intuitive state. And again, neither is bad. Okay, your intuitive self most certainly isn't. But there are times when it's okay to be emotional. Okay? I watch movies. Okay? I am a very emotional being. Okay? I'm not one of those males who's like, I don't cry. That's such bullshit. If you teach your male child that men don't cry, you are setting him up for failure. And then when he becomes mute or numb to emotions, when it comes to a female, when he gets older, he's going to experience karmic situations that he really should not have to go through. But because you taught him that boys don't cry, men don't cry, because you taught him that, now he has to heal that childhood wound on top of whatever else from previous lifetimes. Now he has to heal that. Okay? So I have no problem shedding a tear doing a Hallmark movie. I have no problem, I have no problem shedding a tear during any type of emotional whatever experience. I have no problem doing that. But those emotions are of a loving, caring, empathetic, sympathetic nature. Okay? So again, the question we need to ask ourselves before I go is what's, excuse me, throat chakra, return to sender times 5,000, and with the sword, it is 618. That's 666 on 86. Okay? And so, the foundational question to ask yourself, what is the basis of this choice? Okay? So, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to our divine masculines and our divine feminines. I send much love to you, patience for the journey, and don't become the chaser, divine feminines. Don't become the chaser. The masculines need to be aware of overthinking processes, okay? Because they suffer from perfectionism, probably just like we do, okay? Don't become a chaser. And don't be overthinking divine masculines and divine feminines. Okay? Thank you so much as always for tuning in. My name is Nehru, and this is Esoteric Guidance. Be encouraged.